speak to Jon Marandici, who's a researcher and lecturer in political science at Rutgers University. He has a PhD in political science and joins us from Toronto in Canada. Jon, thank you so much for your time. So China has said the result cannot represent mainstream opinion in Taiwan. Is that Beijing threatening Taiwan or deluding itself?
I think it's more complicated. First of all, 30% of the voters yesterday voted for the DPP candidate. 60% of the voters voted for TPP or the KMT, so the two other candidates. What this means is that the pro-independence party in Taiwan, at least that's how it is viewed in Beijing, the DPP, has a weaker position now. On top of that, the legislative yuan, or the Taiwanese parliament, is now controlled by the KMT, or the more China-friendly party in Taiwan. So, yes, Beijing is unhappy, but on the other hand, the China-friendly forces in Taiwan have actually consolidated their positions.
So what do you think the next 4 years are going to look like under the presidency of William Lai?
Most likely they will look like the presidency of Tsai Ing-wen, the current president of Taiwan, the first woman president in the region. So I don't expect major changes because the point, as I said, that the parliament is not controlled by the pro-independence party, the DPP, but even the DPP is not so staunchly pro-independence. As you have already mentioned, the winner, the current, well, the future president, since in May he will assume office, he said that he is willing to pursue peace and dialogue across the Taiwan Strait. So this is already a signal that he's not interested in fueling any conflict with China.
So do we think that possibly the next 4 years may see continuing Chinese military drills around the waters across the strait, but also the Americans continuing to arm Taiwan and send it weapons, and therefore the tensions just increase year by year?
I would say that this was going on for quite some time. So US is bound by some agreements to provide arms to Taiwan. At the same time, we have already observed 8 years of DPP in power. Again, DPP is the party that has most pro-independence supporters among its constituents. So I don't expect sharp changes in Beijing's policy. Beijing is not actually, it is conducting these military drills, but you have to keep in mind that a couple of months ago, they have launched this economic initiative trying to provide an economic integration or peaceful reunification of Taiwan and China. I know there are many worries about potential invasion of Taiwan, but I don't think that Beijing will risk a war, a major war, a great power war, because as we all know, Taiwan is a major link in the global supply chain in the semiconductor industry. So I don't see, beyond these military drills and attempts to intimidate Taiwan, I don't see any major military action there, despite all the international media frenzy that we are observing right now.
Jon, away from the relationship with China, what are the biggest challenges domestically the new president will face?
As I've mentioned, he has to establish a working relationship with the legislative yuan, or the Taiwan parliament. And this means that most likely he'll have to compromise with the KMT and with the TPP. This means also that he will have to bargain with them and find a compromise, right, a middle ground, which might mean that the semi-presidential system in Taiwan that has been in place will actually start to work, because so far the Taiwanese politics resemble the presidential system, where the president was actually the major figure. I mean, if you ask nowadays anyone in the West or the media reporting on Taiwan, hardly anyone knows the Taiwanese prime minister. So I see that I would see more dialogue between the various parties in Taiwan over the next period.
Jon Marandici.
Over various domestic issues. Yes.
Okay, absolutely, over various domestic issues. Thanks so much indeed, Jon. Really appreciate the expertise.
Thank you for inviting me.